Disclaimer, like I've said before in many of my other videos, I am a chocolate-skinned individual. I am on your side, I promise. I should probably do this entire video in a British accent, but I'm not good at it, so I'm not going to keep doing that. I have been a relatively decent fan of the Harry Potter movies for a long time. I never knew about the books when I was a kid. It's only later in life when I grew intrigued about the story again is when I read the first book and realized that the story was a lot more vast and a lot more interesting compared to how the movies were willing to present it. So mind you, I am not exactly against the entirety of an idea for a Harry Potter reboot from a business standpoint because it makes somewhat sense, even though the movies are not that relatively old, that they want to introduce the universe to a new emerging generation. They want to expand it further to a wider audience and, appease those squirreling book nerds that have been screaming for years that a lot of the movies were a little bit inaccurate for a lot of the characters, like Ron, like when I read the first book, or more accurately listened to the audiobook, when I realized that Ron's character was kind of butchered throughout the whole movies because he was a little bit more interesting in the books. But you don't care about me talking about whatever is good or not good. You know what you saw the thumbnail, you know what I'm here to talk about. It's so funny that not too long before, on February, I talked about how the representation for black characters need to be actually well represented in different ways. But then here we are with Black Snape again. I already knew that Black Snape was going to be a thing, but the fact that they made it a reality and seeing it on screen in its full glory really shows me how much that a lot of these people, especially the higher ups who are making these films or these shows, don't care about individuals who are dark skinned or black. I say dark skinned or brown skinned because it can go either way. I just say not exactly black because there's a lot of different people who have brown skin who may not necessarily be black, and it can affect them as well. We are talking about a character in the entirety of the Harry Potter universe who is objectively throughout the entire series has been perceived to be one of the most evil individuals in the entire story. It's only at the latter end in the Deathly Hallows, or I guess even in the Half-Blood Prince in bits and pieces, when you learn that he isn't exactly the most evil person on planet Earth and the reasons why he did these things. But making him black from what he originally was when he's described in the books, and all of you people out there who just pretending like, oh well, not really, he wasn't even described in the books as white. He was described as marble white and pale. What does that look like to you? Like, what black person have you seen as described as pale in any capacity outside of them being sick or dying? And all of the races that may or may not stumble upon this video right now, listen, I am not on your side. This actor, the worst thing he did was literally accept the role. That's all he did. This is not his fault. These are the studio's fault, the people who decide to do these rebooted series, because for the longest time a lot of people have been trying to be the vocal minority of talking about that race swapping characters is one of the things that a lot of us, especially black folk, do not want to happen. I still remember to this day when I found out that there's a lot of characters out there that have been race swapped from being ginger to black folk. And gingers are some of the most rarest individuals to exist in this world. They are literally a minority. Doesn't matter if they're white or not. They are a minority of people. But they keep getting replaced in a lot of media that have like red-headed individuals. Like Mary Jane in the Spider-Man movies is now replaced with Zendaya with whatever her actual name is, but MJ. Then we have Iris West in the TV show. Don't get me wrong, I love me some Candace. Don't get me wrong, she a baddie, I love her, cool. But she replaced Iris West, another redheaded individual. And then there's Ariel, who we had Chloe Bailey, I believe, who played her in the live action film. There's a lot of depictions of race swapping that literally didn't really need to happen. It didn't need to happen at all. And I always ask the question when they bring this up, wondering, oh, well, when is it actually okay? And in reality, I would just say, like, race swapping is only okay if you are able to race swap every other character to whatever you want. If there's an historically Asian character, you can race swap them to being white. Or if they're historically Hispanic character, you can race swap them to being Filipino, or whatever the case may be. You can do whatever you want. but that's not going to happen. God forbid, if there was another Black Panther film, imagine the outrage if they ever were to cast him as, like, you know, the meme, Ryan Gosling, Black Panther, you know, that meme that came out when the Black Panther film's coming on, that was talked about. Like, that's the only time where I feel like that could be happening. When it comes to Black Snape, he becoming black literally changes the very fabric of the story of Harry Potter to make it look like that Harry Potter was somewhat of a low-key racist. Everything that he's been doing throughout the story makes it look like that Snape is just some kind of weird and suspicious person just because of how he looks. And since he doesn't look like how he is in the books, it's only going to be based off of what? The skin color. That is exactly what's going to happen. Because in the books, he's described as having greasy hair, a long nose, marble white skin, very scaly. Like, take like Mr. Filch from the movies from the way back when. Mr. Filch looks suspicious. Like, he looks like a creepy, suspicious weirdo dude, and he is a suspicious, creepy weirdo dude, but just off of looks alone, he looks like that. And Alan Rickman, God rest his soul, rest in peace my goat, when he played the role, did it perfectly. He was literally like the physical embodiment of that character, and it makes sense for why some of these characters are suspicious of him in the very beginning. And I know I see a lot of people talking about all the castings that they could have chosen, and people keep saying Adam Driver, and like, yeah, sure, Adam Driver could have done it, but I personally would have been a Tom Hiddleston person, because I feel like Tom Hiddleston would have gotten that a lot better outside of Adam Driver. Adam Driver is a little bit too handsome, personally. I would have just said that. Tom Hiddleston's handsome too, but you know, I don't know. I feel like that works. I don't know. But either way, the backstory just gets worse and worse for just changing him to being black. Literally, Harry's dad hangs Snape from a tree, and he does it because, and it's stated in the books, just look at him, just because I can. Something along the lines. I don't know if that's what the exact quote is, but that literally, it doesn't look good. He's literally going to be lynched in the series. And then they're going to say that they're trying to make it the most faithful adaptation of the books, and they might add some extra stuff. I don't know what they're going to add, but they are literally making an excuse for making all the stereotypes of black folk to be placed onto this character, just because they casted this poor soul into this role. He doesn't deserve all of the hate that he's getting, but he shouldn't have said anything either, because I do remember seeing a post coming up about him saying like, oh, the hatred fuels him. He shouldn't have said that. He shouldn't have said that at all, because it's just going to make it worse. And it's going to make all of the people who are probably on your side go like, bro, now you're inviting more people who didn't even hear about it before, now just want to jump on you even harder. That doesn't help your case. And it doesn't make me want to watch the show either. It doesn't make me want to actually enjoy the show. You're trying to just say, oh, you're trying to do it to spite me. And this is the same formula that happened with recent Star Wars series. It's now happening with this series and every other series, even with the most recent Star Trek series that I don't even want to talk about. I didn't even watch it. I didn't even know it existed. I only know about it because of Nerderotics videos. And I'm sitting here going like, why do they keep doing this? All these studios take all of these very legacy franchises and IPs and just crapping on them and saying like all of these legacy fans are having these outdated beliefs. These series were never great before, or they were great before, but now we're going to make them quote unquote greater by adding our modern spin or our own spin on it to make it as entertaining as possible for everyone, and then they just crap on the very foundation for why these series were successful in the first place. It's very frustrating for me because one thing I understand is that the Avatar universe, for those who are unfamiliar, but if you've played Hogwarts Legacy, you probably got a bit and pieces of understanding of what it is. There is an African faction of the Avatar universe. There's an African Hogwarts that exists where there's a lot of more black wizards out there that do wandless magic, and it's in the side of a mountain. It's a lot more creative and different environment. They could have done a story talking about each different school, but guess what? They believe that people are not going to buy that or watch that, and guess what? The possibility of that happening is very high because people care about Harry Potter. Harry Potter is the face of the franchise. They don't want to care about the other stories that could have been told outside of that because, oh, we don't know this. We don't really care. We want to see Harry Potter. So what do? They take the very popular fraction of everything and they try to pinpoint and change it to make it fit whatever modern agenda they want to hit. I don't like even saying modern agenda because that doesn't exactly fit what I want to express, because I don't think that's entirely what they're doing. I feel like it's something predatory or intentionally nefarious, and I don't know how exactly do they even plan to keep doing this. They keep doing this, but we keep letting them. the people out there who keep defending him is like, oh, it's fine, it doesn't change the character, when in reality it changes the character from a fundamental level to what happens to him. There are characters out there that could have race swapped. In fact, I think I learned recently that there was a race swap in the original movies, and it was the girl who gave Ron the love potion in the Order of the Phoenix, and she originally was black, but she got recast to a white girl. And I don't know how true that is, but if that is actually true, that is one of those cases where I'm like, sure, because no one cared about that character in the previous movies. Her character doesn't become relevant until the Order of the Phoenix, so nobody really cares. So they could have race swapped a bunch of different characters in the background. See if they want to make it look a lot more diverse. They could have race swapped Luna Goodwin, Luna Lovegood or something, and probably would have been able to get that by or something. They're gonna race swapped a bunch of different characters. I'm not saying that they should, because I am the biggest against race swapping. I hate race swapping in any capacity. But trying to give them some form of leeway to understand where they stand on it, they could have race swapped any other character and the character wouldn't change. Would have been fine. They could have race swapped Neville to a degree. Neville is a very pivotal character, but making him black or something, I don't know, I don't remember the entirety of Neville's backstory, quote me if I'm wrong, but I feel like his characters wouldn't change if he was black. That would have been fine. But Snape is literally the worst choice they could have picked. The worst choice. They probably could have made Dumbledore black. Sure, it's weird, but it probably would have worked. But even then, like, why? They could have made Hagrid black. That's probably one thing I probably wouldn't have minded, making Hagrid black, because he's a giant, and you can find really big, bulky, and fluffy characters that can fit the role. The guy who's playing Hagrid now looks good too. RIP my original Hagrid, but still. Like, you get what I'm saying, you know? A lot of these series really do need to understand that people want to see these black stories being told from these black stories. Give us some original stories. We used to have these kind of stories with like Men in Black and Daddy Daycare with Eddie Murphy, Fresh Prince. As much as you don't like him, and I know his name is kind of like taboo now, but Bill Cosby, he used to be America's dad before they passed it on to Bob Saget, RP Bob Saget. A lot of goats died, damn. But Bill Cosby was playing a high-ranking official in the story. He was a well-renowned black father in that story. He was a doctor, his wife was a lawyer, they were a loving family, and you just saw the shenanigans of their household. They were actually like rich black people. It wasn't just average other different white folk. We have a bunch of different original black stories that existed before, but now they just kind of keep doing the same thing. Oh, we're going to reboot this series right here. We're going to reboot Tangled and we're going to make Rapunzel black. Why? Why even do that? You're going to make Rapunzel look like random black lady with nasty blonde wig on top of her head? No, don't do that. Please. Like, it was already a crazy thing when they made The Little Mermaid being played by Chloe Bailey, and people thinking or saying like, why would you even do that? It doesn't matter in the grand scheme. Nobody really cares about The Little Mermaid's live action because no one's really watching it. But in the why? Like, what makes this decision make you gain more money, but you understand why they're doing it? They're going to get extra funds for those who want to say, we all should watch this movie because we're now getting black folk, new black characters. But then we're having all these series have these biopics who are supposed to be either legacy people who are in the British or European sphere, and they're being played by black folk. I still remember when the whole, I think it was Cleopatra, I don't remember which story what it was. It was either Cleopatra or some biopic story that was following the life of an individual. That was a series that was on Netflix, and it was being played by a black woman. And people are saying like, why is she black? She's Egyptian. She's not exactly gonna have the most darkest of skin. She kind of looks like this. And we had this whole conversation, and this conversation is going to keep happening and it will never stop because we are going to keep letting them do it, because people are going to go watch it because they don't want to quote unquote feel like a racist individual for not watching the series, or for feeling bad for not helping black folk be pushed into the sphere of entertainment, when in reality you're kind of hurting them. Because if you're incentivizing people like Disney, like Netflix, like Hulu, like all these different places to accept that it is okay for them to just race swap whatever character they want to race swap, doesn't matter how it looks in the grand scheme, and you're only watching because you don't want to quote unquote feel bad for not watching it and saying that it's bad, then they're just going to win. Original black stories will never be told, and they're going to just fall under the wayside. This is one of the reasons why I do some of the videos that I do talking about like indie comics, and I want to talk about other shows that come out that have black-led characters. I'm not specifically black-led characters, just I'm going to talk about shows that I like, but we want to have these series be well represented. If you love Harry Potter, then you should be telling them, hey, this should look like this. If you make this character look like this, it's going to look bad, and your series is going to tank because of it. And what's going to happen, I can predict. The series is going to come out and people are going to forget about it after this point in time because the trailer is still kind of fresh, and people are going to clown it for the extended week, 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks. And then when the series comes out, the memes pop up again. And then people are going to watch the series from the first episode for how many episodes they have for the first season. And then eventually it's going to tank. It's going to tank, and then they're going to see reviews of people popping up saying people are hating on to the Harry Potter series because of quote unquote bigotry, when it's far from the case. There are people out there, black folk out there, who want to see new stories, unique and diverse and changing and unique stories. Like, do a high fantasy stories that have black folk in it. You can do that. Like, it's not impossible, but they won't. There's no money in it because that requires them to do risk. It requires them to amplify risk in that sphere, and they don't want to play with that possibility. They don't want to lose possibly millions of dollars of it. They don't. But yeah, I wanted to talk about this Black Snape situation. I don't know what exactly they plan to do with the series after that. I don't know if the series is going to drop. I am going to watch it maybe for a brief moment to see if it actually is okay, because the trailer was fine. Like, it looked fine, but it didn't look like a series that I really liked so far. Leave a comment below how you feel about what's going on today. Are you guys going to watch the series? Do you think Black Snape should have been recast? Do you think he's going to be fine when it comes out? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to also like the video. It helps me out as a creator as well if you want to see more videos like this. And also don't forget to subscribe for other videos in the future. Other than that, it's your boy Kadukun. I'll see you guys next time, and peace.
FMA, handle business, don't play. On point when it comes to the anime. Jack and Daxter, ayy, let's go. The ultimate heroes, don't stop, we on the road. Kadukun. Yeah, welcome to the channel.